Hello and welcome to another video on Minecraft Redstone. This is a bit of an extension on my earlier work with multi-item sorters. After watching Cubfan's 135's video on his massive multi-item sorter in his Hermitcraft video, I thought that I might have a look at the Redstone for 1.16 that might achieve a similar thing. In his system, before he sends items to the multi-item sorter, he separates out items that are in shulker boxes such that he can just throw in whatever he has in his inventory. One feature he does, which is separating out full shulker boxes for long-time archival, is not part of this. The redstone in this video is inspired from that, but not copied from that. The designs I've tried to come up mostly on my own, mostly due because I'm trying to take advantage of the new target blocks in 1.16, but also because I want to make sure that the redstone is easily understood and followable for even Minecraft redstone beginners. So let's have a look at what we've got. So in order to sort items into a multi-item sorting system, you want them out of the shulker boxes, but when you're back at the end of the day, you don't really want to have to manually load all those items out of shulker boxes into your system yourself. So this system takes as input whatever you happen to have in your inventory. So for example, we've got a red shulker box full of granite, an orange shulker box with just one item in it, empty lime green shulker box, and 64 diorite. Now I am in the snapshot at the moment, which is why we seem to have this kind of a weird overlay bug when we highlight on the red shulker box. I will be testing this again when 1.16 is formally released. But to start with, let's start putting our items, as if we've just finished for the day, into our system. So the first step is it separates out shulker boxes and items. So any items should flow over here, and any shulker boxes come down to the next section for unloading. This section then unloads the shulker box, and then you get both items and empty shulker boxes into the third part of the system, which separates again. So items that were never in shulker boxes come over here, items that were in shulker boxes come over here, and shulker boxes, once they're finished being unloaded, will turn up over here. We've just finished the red shulker box now, so we should see this turn up over here shortly. And there's the red shulker box. And very shortly we should also get the orange shulker box. The system's pretty easy to design. It's actually just these two modules, although the module that separates out shulker boxes and items is repeated twice. Since this is the first part of the system, we'll start here. So it's pretty simple. A lot of systems use a similar design. We have a dropper over here attempting to feed an item into a shulker box over here. And then we have a dropper here, which is used to basically limit the rate of items into the system. Now there are faster systems that can do the separation much faster, but because the intent is to feed into the multi-item sorter, this is using a hopper-based system, which means it's on a 5-tick clock to allow the hoppers in the system adequate time to do their dispensing. So when there's an item in here, it starts the clock. We've got 4 ticks here, 1 tick here, which means it pulses every 5 ticks. So every 5th tick, after 1 tick delay, it pulses this dropper, which will send an item into this dropper. Then on the 2nd tick, so after the item is well and truly definitely here, it will pulse this target block, which will force this dropper to attempt to push the item into the shulker box. If the item goes into the shulker box, this hopper will then take it into the barrel. If it can't, then on the 3rd tick, so 3 tick delays here, this target block will get released, which releases that hopper, which would allow that hopper to then pull the item out of that dropper if it's still there and into over here, thus separating the items. So we can see how that goes now. So we've got some shulker boxes, they're all empty. And as we can see, our items are turning up over here because they can go through the shulker box, and our shulker boxes are turning up over there. The second part of the system is obviously once you have your shulker boxes on their own, you need to unload them. Again, the redstone's pretty easy to follow. Shulker boxes feed into this dispenser. It has to be a dispenser, not a dropper. When there's items in the dispenser, the comparator will light up. The observer sees that there's a change in the contents of that system and activates the dispenser to deploy the shulker box. This observer notices that that observer fired and also pulses here. there's immediately a repeater here in order to extend the pulse from that observer just a little bit so it can feed into this fader. This then holds the circuit long enough for this hopper to try and pull contents from the box. If it can't pull items from the box, this comparator never lights up and the fader just acts on that signal. If it can pull items, this comparator will light up as long as it's pulling items and hold this system until all the items are emptied. So this signal here will stay on as long as there's any items being unloaded from a shulker box, which keeps this piston up. When the piston goes up, nothing happens. It doesn't have any effect because it's pointing into an empty block. But when it comes down, the change in state for the observer forces it to fire into this block here, which will cause this piston to break the shulker box and then send it into the same system. When the shulker box breaks, this observer here will see that it's broken in the change of state. It will fire onto this block here, which will then cause this dispenser to then put another shulker box down if there are any remaining. And that's about it. And that's the entirety of the redstone. So if we have a look over here, we'll see that we've got our shulker boxes over here. Our contents of the shulker boxes over here. And the items that were never in a shulker box over here. So we could feed these both into a water stream, one perfectly above the other, and send them over to our multi-item sorter. As you can see, the redstones as described. We start with the system that separates out the two. Then the system that unloads shulker boxes, and then the system that separates again. Now, the only real gotcha here is obviously, apart from making sure that you don't have redstone interfering between one layer and the next, is make sure that this hopper that's watched by the comparator doesn't have a hopper underneath it, because if there's a hopper underneath it, it'll pull the item down so fast that this hopper will never get a chance to force the comparator on and it won't hold the system open. But that's about it. So with this system, you'll separate all your items here for your multi-item sorter, and your shulker boxes over here for reuse the next time you head out. And then you can take it over into the multi-item sorter, which I've described in a different video. Thank you for watching.